Well, here I am with one of our Floragon trees, and as you might be able to tell, or maybe you remember from our video, we used a prop stick to prop up this branch because, as you can tell, it's mostly horizontal and it was loaded with fruit. So the fruit might have just broken the branch or just bent it down to the ground. So we propped it up so we could save the fruit, but now all the fruit is gone. So the thing to do at this point is to make this branch a lot shorter. We won't have any problems next year, with the branch going down even further if we cut it way back. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I also am going to make a few suggestions on how to trim branches safely. And of course, be careful around saws, but I'm talking about safety for the trees. You don't want to do the fast way or the easy way of trimming a branch when you can actually strip the bark. So it just takes a few minutes extra to do it properly. So that's what I'm going to hopefully demonstrate here. So just walk around to the other side. So here's our prop stick, so scoot in past that. So this is the longest and it's the biggest part of this branch coming off the tree, and so this definitely has to go. So in order to cut it back here, the first cut I'm going to do is actually an undercut. So just make a cut from the underside of the branch and then make your top cut. And I'm doing the top cut a little bit further out from the undercut, and that way you hear it, it's starting to crack as we're cutting. So because there's all that weight on the branch. So look at that. There's the undercut that I made and then the top cut. So there's no stripping of the bark. But actually, I've taken a lot of weight off this branch, but I'm actually going to cut back to here. This is very light now, so this amount of wood will not strip the bark. And so what I'm going to do here is look for sort of the growth pattern. I don't want to cut it too far to where there's sort of these accumulation of sort of bark kind of thing. We want to go out from there, and so I'm just gonna cut right here. Just gonna go slowly so I don't end up damaging that other part of the branch. Well, it's a little scratch. So anyway, that is, the way to cut if you have a situation where stripping bark from a tree limb is a big possibility. So if I had that whole branch intact and I cut, what happens a lot of times is when you get like about this far, maybe a little bit further into the cut, assuming this is, pretend that this is on the tree still, and so this is, the whole branch is extending there. You get down to where most of the branch is freed from this part that was near the tree, or attached to the tree still. Then it has enough weight on it that it just breaks, and it will take bark. In avocados, sometimes you can strip 5 to 6 feet of bark if you don't undercut. So if you cut from the underside and then from the top, you don't risk damage to the tree. So right now, this is a good final cut for this branch. I think I'll take this opportunity to cut this other one back. I don't want to cut it back all the way, I don't think. Of course, you can always cut more. You can never cut less after you've cut, So I'll just I'll just aim for something a little bit further out than that. But even so, I'm going to use the undercut for the first, to get the weight off of the branch. There, it's starting to crack. Boom. So, you know, no big damage there. And then I will, let's see, I guess, you know, it's not a huge decision, but I'll cut out this far. And again, there's really, even though there's not much weight, I'll catch it the last bit just in case it wanted to strip anything. So anyway, that's what happens when you cut a branch. You take a little bit more time, then you get clean cuts. The tree doesn't have to heal some wounds. So what do you do when you have a tree that has been cut and the bark is stripped? So let's go take a look at a situation that I have on just the other side of the driveway. So here's our dot mango tree that we transplanted a while ago. In order to transplant it, we needed to cut it back drastically and quickly. So what happened was we have a couple areas that are like not ideal cuts. This one in particular, this was stripped bark right here. Now this, if we left it alone, it would heal, but I think cutting it to make a nice clean cut, it will heal faster and there's less chance of the rot working down into the tree. So basically I'm just going to go to the bottom of this stripped area and make like a 90-degree cut. That's going to be the result in the least amount of surface area for the tree to heal. So because this is already just a short piece, I don't need to undercut. I just can do a straight cut across. So there it is. Now, stripped bark can happen with chainsaws too. It's just one of those things that if you're cutting a branch and, you know, it has any weight on it at all, it's definitely a risk. But so I cut that back, and then the part that I left up on the tree will look a lot like that. And while I'm here, I'll just make a few other cuts. You know, this is not an area that has stripped bark or anything, but it is at an angle, and as long as I'm here, I'm going to cut back. There's a leaf bud here emerging right there, and I think there's one on that side too. So cut it back to where it's likely to sprout out. So that's that. And I'll just check around. Oh, this one definitely needs to get cut. I didn't even see this before. It's good to check your trees carefully. We have a big area of damage right here, and that might have been from the bulldozer itself scraping there, but basically from here down to the base of this branch, the bark is all stripped, and these are bag bugs that are taking advantage of this, like I guess they're feasting on some sap or something. Now it's a shame that we have to cut all that back, but it's definitely a good thing for the health of the tree. So because I can hold this branch and you know it's lightweight, I don't need to make that first cut. I can do, well, actually this branch is sort of in the way, so I'm going to cut out from that area just so I get a better view of what to cut. But look at that. That is just not a long-term survivor. You know, that branch, had I left it, would not be doing well. But you know, for you grafters out there, you can see that, oh, there's a little tiny lizard, isn't that cute? But anyway, you can see that I have prepped some scions, and it looks like some of those are going to be usable. So this is not destined for the trash immediately. But we still have this area to cut. And I think my best approaches from this side, I can not damage the other branches that way, but I'll just so this nice healthy wood that I got too, and you can see on this side just a little bit further up from this was a little bit further out from the tree, the rot had gotten down into that wood there, and once you start getting rot, it just gets bigger. So it was really good to get rid of that branch at this time. Let's see if there's anything else that needs a little attention. Oh, here's one that's stripped. It's stripped all the way down to the base there. Now that's sort of a shame because this is where I normally cut, right there. I guess that I'll just do my normal cut, and after this tree really starts growing, we'll probably need to cut this branch down further, but this should last a couple years before, and maybe it'll even heal up well without rotting. If it heals over rot, that's not a good thing because long term that branch is going to break. But yeah, get rid of the stripped bark. Yeah, so you can tell where the rot is right there. But it's not going to go down into this lower part of the branch that quickly. So I think we're going to be okay there. It's a little bit of a strip up here on this branch. I'm seeing a leaf bud coming out right there. I'm going to try to cut just above that. Hopefully it's all healthy wood. Let's see what we have. Okay, that is good news. So that looks all healthy, even though the strip had gone down just above it. So there's this little leaf bud, so hopefully we'll get a new branch out of that. I'll just check around, This is pretty minor. Once you have a situation where you've cut back a tree a lot and it's starting to leaf out, it's good to not leave a whole lot of space between a future branch and the end of this, the existing branch. So I see a bud right there, so I'm just going to go about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. This is really minor stuff, and if you don't have a lot of time, this is not something that you would do. But just going to make a fresh cut so that it doesn't have eventually have this piece rotting. I think that should be okay. Got a leaf bud there and there. Here's another situation where it's not ideal cut. It seems to have a little bit of stripping there. There's a leaf bud here. I might sort of unintentionally take off the one on that side, but there's several on this here, over there, and further back on the branch. So just cut that back, and looks pretty good. Little mottled, but that will probably be okay. And I think we're close to our last one. So there's a little bit of damage. It's not bad at all. I see a leaf bud right here, so I'm going to cut back to that. Again, like a 1/2 inch above it. That seems to be nice, healthy wood there. Got just a few. This whole branch doesn't look like it's doing anything. It might have. I'm not sure if it was sort of ailing before we moved the tree or not, but I don't see, this is not a leaf from this branch. So I'm going to cut back. There's a little bit of sap oozing here, so I'll cut below that to see if it's alive down there or not. And it is, it looks like it is. There's sap flowing. So all of this did not need to be on the tree. So here, even though the bark isn't stripped, this is a crack in the bark going down there. So time to clean that up. There's sort of a leaf bud, potential leaf bud there. It seems like a growth ring or something. So I'll cut below that. Let's see if, well, that's still damaged. So I don't like that. I think I'll cut back even further. You know, that it's likely that it's damaged all the way down to there. So I think there's like little ridges around here. So I'm going to cut above one of those ridges. See if the wood is healthy there. Well, just to be careful, I'm going to undercut it, so I don't want to cut off more than I intend. I'd even that off a little bit. Okay, so that looks like good healthy wood. It's a little bit of a spot right there, but I think that'll be all right. And I believe this is our last area right here. You know, I think that's going to be our last major cut. I'm going to just look at the other side of that, see what's going on. Not sure if that's a leaf bud or not, but it does look like it might have some. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so we have a little bud here and a little bud there. So I'll make a perpendicular cut above that top leaf bud. Okay, so that was the cut size that was up there. So wherever you see ragged stuff, that's like an invitation to rot. And you know, then this, you know, the bark around it was damaged a little bit too. So this is the cut side. And you know, it looks pretty darn healthy. So I think that, you know, if you do have the time to go back and check a tree after you've trimmed it quickly, it's a good thing to do because you can make some, you know, good cuts, and I think it improves the long-term health of the tree. So that's a quick look at trimming mango trees. You know, try to, you know, with big branches, try to make that undercut first and then cut from the top so that you don't strip the bark. And, you know, after a tree has been trimmed, go back and look and see if there's any of those cuts that need to be cleaned up at all.